International break, you've had that, so you've had that time to kind of reflect. 3 games in, I think pretty positive performances so far. What do you make of that start?
Yeah, I think really positive. We faced a tough start really. Tottenham away, and obviously Man United, two away games there, which are difficult games for us. I've been hugely encouraged by the way we've approached them. Loads of learning still to be done, and I think we can see that in certain aspects of our performances against them teams. But for large parts, I've been really encouraged with how competitive we've been. Scored some goals as well. So yeah, we're heading in the right direction in that sense.
That Sunderland game, must have been great just to to get that win and know that that's not anything anyone could beat anyone with. You've got a victory already.
Of course, yeah. Look, yeah. In this division, every game you look at, there's a real challenge ahead of you, and that's really clear. And you can see that really in terms of the opposition you're playing against. So, of course, I think it was important for us as a team and as a club to get that first win, and that came within the second game, another very good performance. So, pleased to get them 3 points and hopefully a few more to come.
Jadon Anthony, I've always felt he's kind of needed maybe a bit of love and a bit of stability. It looks like he's got that now at Burnley. And it seems like on the pitch we're seeing that already as well. How do you think he's getting on?
Well, look, me and Jadon we go back quite far really, because when I took over at Bournemouth, Jadon was an under-23 player that I brought into a pre-season group and took my eye, gave him the opportunity. He grabbed the opportunity and was a fundamental mainstay in that team that got us promoted. Had the idea of bringing him here, and he's come here as well. Last year again was fundamental to what we did, and I see a Premier League player in Jadon, and he's got off to an incredible start.
And how's he been after what happened at Old Trafford? Because that must weigh on any player, especially in the context of where it was in the game as well. Yeah,
he's disappointed. He's definitely disappointed, and I get it. I always try and put myself in players' positions a lot of the time whenever I'm trying to address a team or I'm approaching individuals about the game. I have an understanding of certain situations. The game goes very, very quick. Probably desperation at that moment with 2 minutes on the clock. Jadon's thinking, that's my man, please don't let him go. And he's obviously tugged his shirt. He was disappointed after the game. But this is what happens sometimes, and we all make mistakes, and that wasn't a big one, that was a little one, but it'll be fine.
It's funny though, because in the Spurs game quite early on, he had a little push in the back, I think, and there was a bit of debate of whether he could have gone down there, and then the next minute it's another game in, a few games in, and then he's in the box with a decision there. And I know you've spoken after the game on VAR, and I know we could do that to death, but I think the other thing that's kind of coming out when we're getting these decisions on VAR is the flow of the game and how that's kind of changing and evolving. It does feel like it's certainly having an impact. How do you manage that side of things?
Well, it's tough to manage. There's different rules coming in each and every year, really, or different gadgets, and I get it. The game's evolving, and life evolves really, and how quick the world's moving. We need to be adaptable to that, which I understand, and I do get that. My feeling was, and it's just my opinion, whether it's right or the wrong decision, just the actual feel of a game at certain moments has become for me a little bit sterile. The way I stand in a box now in that coach's area, there's something which has long gone from where it was 2 or 3 years ago when I stood in that box, and that's because you just don't know what can happen. You could get the game could be pulled back 4 or 5 phases. Is it offside? Is it onside? There's a VAR check on it practically every goal, which I understand, but the feel of it is pretty sterile.
What changes might you want to see? Because by the sounds of it, it sounds like you're almost a fan first, then a player, then a manager, and that joy, that love of football that we all have.
Yeah, I just don't want the emotion to go out of the game. I'm an emotional person, full stop. And from 6 years of age to now, as a player, as a young boy, it was the emotion of the game. When I used to go and watch football live, when I watch it on TV, it was that emotion. And the emotion was a goal celebration. The emotion of just everything that at certain moments a game can bring that is slowly, I feel, just going out the game. It's either that emotion is delayed, and at that point it's not a raw emotion. Well, it was a goal. and you lose that. And certainly that's the way I'm feeling, and maybe that's because of the position I'm in. And the position I'm in at that moment in time is I'm thinking, right, goal, not goal, I don't know, but I still feel as a fan now, if I wasn't sitting in the position I'm sitting in as a coach, and at the height of the importance of what it is, and at times desperation of I want it to be a goal, and I just don't feel that. I feel that emotion's going.
You mentioned about steady players. Kyle Walker must be a big part of that, with all the experience he's bringing into this squad.
Definitely, and we needed that, and you know, during the summer, it was definitely a topic that you're trying to build a squad here, like any team, where you need a real mixture. And this is a young squad. There's some players that have never been in the Premier League, and then you need that experience as well, that have probably done the trip a little bit, that understand how it may look, understand how certain stadiums look, the environment they're in. And Cole probably he's every bit of that really. He's an experienced guy with huge quality that at times can lend a helping hand with the team with his ability, but can also be that voice of reason and that voice of calmness in times when we need him, because of the experience tells him, and he can explain that with some weight behind it really, that the younger players may listen to that.
And Sunday, that's exactly the voice you might want to hear, right?
Yeah, definitely. On Sunday that will be the case. Playing against arguably one of the best teams in the world currently, you know, and I think the actual dynamics of Liverpool in every aspect of a very, very strong side, which we know. And there's going to be, for sure, parts of the weekend where we're going to have to be very composed. And I mean composed in what we actually do on the pitch, but certainly in our mind as well, composed, because there'll be different dynamics. We'll be under different stresses in certain moments. We'll be under positive, we'll be under negative. What's going to be important is that composure in them moments, and then added to that is some real courage. And we need to go into this game with unbelievable courage and bravery, show the best version of ourselves as always, and try and take this game to which we know is a very, very good Liverpool side.
I think a lot of Burnley fans are kind of feeling like the pressure's off, perhaps, you know, given where Liverpool are and Burnley are. Do you see it like that? Is this a free hit and you're focusing more on the mini league and trying to survive?
It's a game of football. When a whistle goes and the whistle ends, it's 11 men, it's the same size goals, it's the same pitch, and we need to give the best version of ourselves, and we need to come with unbelievable energy, enthusiasm, excitement to this game to try and get a result. And like I keep saying, a challenge there, of course there is, and absolutely no doubt there's a challenge there, but it's a challenge we're going to embrace, and it's a challenge we're going to be full of real courage and real bravery, and show our quality when we have our moments to show our quality, and try and get a result.